We're going to begin in a minute. You could just lie down if you want, because I've got just a really nice thing to read to you. Yes. Okay, so what I'm about to read to you is, I think I have it quoted in my book, Teach Yourself Yoga, but it's just something nice that I discovered that Michael Leunig had written, and I've just bent it a little bit to fit more with the yoga idea. And I think it comes from a book, Prayer to Something or Other, one of his charming books. And I'd interpreted this writing as about the practice of yoga that you can do every day, which is ideal, I think. And interpreting what Leunig said, the practice is like a daily ritual or ceremony whereby you spend time with yourself. And why this is important is because it's not just an intellectual exercise, it's also poetic. A ceremonial affirmation, the repetition of which carries an indelible and resonant quality into the heart. This is daily yoga practice. Each time it occurs, something important is revitalized and strengthened. And he says, the garden is watered. A ritual which recognizes the inner life and attempts to connect to it, we do that ideally in a quiet yoga practice, is like a do-it-yourself ceremony where the mind is on its knees, the small ceremony which calls on the soul to come forth, and the garden is watered. So I think he's one of Australia's main philosophers, Leunig. Doesn't always hit the mark, but he's pretty good. And we're going to start today's session with a breathing exercise that we've done before. So you're going to come up to standing. On your mat, of course. And then Tadasana is that basic pose. So you're standing on your 2 feet, standing straight but relaxed. So unlock the back of your knees, relax your buttock muscles, and let your shoulders be broad and comfortable. And I just realized I have a bad habit of not muting. Okay, so simple exercise with your arms a little distance from the side of your body, and then turning your arms out and inhaling your arms up overhead. And then to bring your arms down, palms turn out, and then lowering the arms by your side. And we've been practicing this way of breathing where you start the inhalation, when you're going to raise the arms a little bit before you start the movement. Complete the movement, a little bit more puff of inhalation, and exhale starts. Arms come down and out. Movement finishes, a little bit more exhalation. And then keep going like that. It's just an image for me of framing the movement with the breath and reminding ourselves that the breath is all important. It's the center of everything. As you go along, the arms are relaxed at the elbows. And let's see whether we can increase the capacity of the breath on the inhalations and the exhalations by opening the chest circumferentially. So you feel the breath touch the sides of your ribs, the front ribs, the back ribs. That lift through your arms allows the shoulder blades to lift up, and they open sideways like angel wings. Okay, and so we can make a smooth exit from this. Just do one more cycle. And then pause for a moment when you're at standstill and check those points again. The knees are relaxed, the buttocks soft, shoulders broad. Lovely. And then take a lying down position on your mat. Have next to you a yoga block and a yoga belt. Spend a little time when you're on your back reclining. Just maybe wiggle your hips a little bit, wiggle your shoulders, so you feel like you're settling the upper and the lower part of the body into the floor. Keep your legs bent and your feet on the floor near to your buttocks. And we'll do a few warm-up poses. And the first one, bend your knees into your chest and hold at the front of your knees. And proceed to breathe out, bring your knees in towards you with the elbows bent. Push your knees away, breathing in. So simple that this can become perfunctory. We don't want that to be happening. So be very aware of things like the tilt of the pelvis, the movement through your lower back, which is alternately pressing and then releasing to lift again. I'm describing what's going on in my body. You might notice some other things. And then just let's try on having no hands and dropping your arms by your side again, but then continuing with the movement. So knees move away, knees come in with a bit of a squeeze. And we're keeping to a small movement so that your back feels like it's still supported where you're lying. Make the movement too big, and then you're going to start to rely on your hip flexors to continue the movement. Little movement out, little squeeze in. If that feels strong for your back for some reason, then you can just keep holding to your knees. Okay, then let's go back to holding your knees, one hand each knee, and then circle them. Knees and feet together, and rotating the knees in a small circle. And then seeing what there is to discover there in a movement which allows the tilt of the pelvis from posterior to anterior, and then go the other way. But it's a little bit different because you move one buttock more quickly than the other. All right, and then come to the middle and pause there. And left foot back onto the floor. So that left leg's bent, left foot onto the floor. Right hand, bring it to the outside of your right knee. And so the flat of your hand supports the outer knee. And then with pressure, push out against the resistance of your hand, and then release it. Outside right knee pushes into your right hand, and then you let it go. So something that's happening for me, and you can see whether that's there for you too, is that I'm starting to incorporate my core muscles, or we could just say the belly muscles, especially with stronger pressure. Make sure that you're releasing in between as we continue. simple movement. And then letting go, pressure, and letting go. All right, then let's finish on that side, and right foot rests onto the floor. Bend your left knee in towards you, and left hand to the outside of the left knee. And then press out. Your left heel is close to your left buttock. That leg is kind of relaxed, except for the muscles that you're using around the hip. And alternate, press, release. Press, let go. And as I said, you can incorporate those extra rectus abdominal muscles to good effect. One more time. And then rest your left foot back onto the floor. All right. Let's continue with these warm-up exercises. What are they doing for you? The muscles on the outside of your hips are stabilizers, and when you strengthen them, they help you to walk straight, to be able to stand straight. So from that bent leg position, drop your knees out to the side. In Sanskrit, we call this Trikhanasana. So knees butterflying out to the side and the soles of your feet together. Then I want to go into a little fine-tuning here. So separate your toes, separate your forefoot, and just press your heel into center. One heel pressing against the other. And then release from that effort. Press again, and notice whether that's so for you, whether you feel there's muscles that are being switched on here, and which ones are working for you. And heel pressure, and letting go. And one more time, pressing into the heel, and let it go. All right, separate your heels a little bit, and have the backs of your toes and the balls of your feet in contact with no connection through the heels. And then try that on for size. It actually is a kind of odd movement. We don't do this one very often. And pressing and then releasing. Add pressure to the extent that you can, and release. So your face is still relaxed, your shoulders still relaxed. Pressure and release. One more time. Let it go. Just soften generally. And let's alternate. So first, heel pressure. Feel what that feels like and which muscles get engaged. Hold it. Hold it. Let it go. Switch. Toes press in. Forefoot presses in. And then as a contrast, what do you feel there? And let it go. All right, do one more round, heels and then the forefoot. And notice the way that the pelvis moves. So you feel the outer hips and the groins probably, but there's a slight movement through the pelvis. See if you can identify that. All right, and then let's come back, knees up, 2 feet on the floor. And we'll do one more, which is good. It's good for your abdominal muscles, but it's also a slight rotation for your spine. So lift your feet off the floor and create a right angle behind your knee. So your heels are going to be in line, your feet and heels are in line with your knees. And you've got a right angle at the hips too. Kind of look like an upside down frog. Separate your knees a little wider than your hips. Feet are a little bit wider than your hips. And then anchor your shoulders and your shoulder blades and take the legs over to the right side without bringing them together. Maintain that separation between the knees. Keep your left shoulder down. Maybe look over your left shoulder. Come back to center. Go left. Look right. Keep that right shoulder down. Let's go 2 more times. Right. Crossing the body to the left. Just anchoring the opposite side in the direction you're going. And then one more time. I think we're up to one more time each side. Squeeze your abdominal muscles to give you a bit of extra strength there. And then back into center, and happily 2 feet on the floor again. And separate your feet a little bit. Let your knees rest against each other. Take a few breaths there, and where you were engaging muscles, then relax them wherever you can, especially on the inside of your legs. We're going to continue and need a block for some small bridge poses. So grab that foam block. All right, and we're going to work like this. So the block on its narrow side between your knees, and your arms by your side, but turn your palms uppermost and turn your arms and your shoulders out. So little bridges means now that your chest is open neatly out to the side. Then press into your feet and start to lift your buttocks slightly off the floor, pressing against the block. And undo any tension around your tailbone. Small lift, come back down. Go again, pressure against the block. Press on the outside of your feet at the same time. That kind of balances the movement that you're doing. And then resting. And again, already my buttocks start to clench right from the start. I'm trying to train myself out of that. And then coming down. So this is just really gentle introduction to the bridge. And then rotate your block so it's in the mid-range. Back between your knees. Knees against the block. As you press in, press the little toe side of your foot and the outer heel and begin to let yourself lift up. Maybe you're going in a direction towards a greater lift as you go along here. Or maybe you're happy with keeping a low back bend and then coming back down. 2 more times. Check those points. Let your pubis drop a little bit and get more lift from the outside of your hips. So 2 times and then 3 times all together. And when you come down this time, then let's put the block on the wide side and between your knees. And when the block's that wide, then obviously you have to step your feet out really wide too. And just wait there for a moment. So maybe you can assess your own back here. And I'm talking about the lumbar area. So if you tilt your buttocks anteriorly, so your hip bones are moving away from you and your buttock bones are moving towards your back waist, it increases the lumbar arch. Does that feel good for you? What if you go the other way and you move the frontal hip bones towards your waist and the sitting bones away from you and you flatten your back? And how does that feel? Is that the best move for your lower back? Now find what works best for you, and this time when you come up, pressing against the block, pressing the outside of your feet, releasing any clenching around your tailbone. Oh my goodness, there's so much to remember. Then notice, does it feel better if you move your tailbone towards your head? That's more of an arch. Or does it feel better to lengthen the tailbone away from you without clenching your buttocks? And then come back down to the ground. And let's go again. Little toe side, outer heel, pressure against the block. Outer hips lifting up. And that's maybe the second time, maybe one more for good measure. And playing a little bit about that movement, the sitting bones away, the tailbone away, or the tailbone towards you, the buttock bones towards you, and then back to ground. All right, done and dusted, but not quite. So place your block on to the side, away from you. Bring your heels in closer to your buttocks. Maybe they were already in. And then lift your heels off the floor and shift the weight to the backs of your toes, the ball of your foot. And you've got a heel raise now, and now raise up your buttocks. So you're on the ball of your foot. Maybe you can feel all 5 toes. That would be good. And lifting up. Now use the outer hips to lift up. Let the pubic bone sink a little bit and open up your top chest. Beautiful. And then come down in that way of articulating the spine down to its base. Rest your feet on the ground for a moment. And then heel raise. You're on your toes. You're coming up. And you could be curious and interested in how is this different and where do you lift from that might be different. I'm in my hamstrings more, in the backs of my legs near to my buttocks. All right, and then upper back, mid back, lower back, sacrum, bum. And then extend your legs out away from you. And give yourself a little bit of a wobble. Good. And then while you're here, it's a really nice thing to do. Bring your legs and your feet together. Keep your arms down by your side near to your side body. And then on an inhalation, stretch your toes away from you and extend your arms overhead. Exhale, reverse that and bring your arms back alongside your body and pull your toes back towards your knees. Alternate those 2 movements at your own pace. Exhaling to inhaling. Keep going a few more rounds. You're not quite sure what that means, then I can show you when we get up. So overhead stretch, toes point away, arms by your side, toes back towards you. Last one, and then pausing and let your feet drop out. And then just feel, you might feel like you have a little bit more circulation in the ankles. I can feel a little more energy there. Then bend your knees and roll to the side and come onto all fours. Meaning it's this kind of setup for cat pose. But we're not doing cat. I think let's just circle your hips. Not a big circle, a little circle. Unless you want to make a big circle, and then go the other way. Nice. Come to a halt in the center, in neutral spine. And then take your right leg back behind you and tuck the toes of your right foot under and have the toes tucked under, the right leg straight, and then push out through the right heel. Go for as much length through the right leg, hip to heel as you can, and then release the right knee back to its mate, where the left knee is. And then extend that right leg again, but this time have the front of your right foot onto the floor, and that's your toenails pressing into the mat. And then imagine that you're trying to drag the right foot, your right toes, towards your hands. Okay, good. And then relax and be on both knees. And let's do the same movement on the other side. Left leg, take it back. Straight leg, tuck the toes of the left foot under, push outwards. And creating the sensation from hip to heel. Good. And then bring that knee in. And swapping the emphasis and extending the left leg. And as though you could draw the left foot toes, that toenails pressing into the floor, back towards your hands, pulling. Good. And then let go. A little bit of work for your feet and your toes. And then come down onto your elbows. And finally into child's pose. Fold your arms, fold your hands, rest your head down. Make sure that your knees feel just fine here, fine and dandy. So if you have to keep your buttocks up a little bit, do that. But head down. Okay, pretty good. And then let's do a little bit more working on your toes and coming back onto all fours. Tuck your toes under and supporting your weight onto your hands. Lift your knees, lift your hips, downward facing dog pose. And then straight into pedaling your feet. For that really beautiful back of the leg stretch. Where is it for you? Do you feel this more in your hamstrings, the backs of your knees? I definitely feel it in my calf muscles. Good. Let's keep going a little while longer. Such good movement for your ankles, your arches, and your toes. All right. And then take a walk forward. And bring yourself up slowly and all the way up to standing. Good. Let's see. Does everybody have like either a chair? A chair works well. Or a wall next to you, near you. So moving into one-legged balancing. And let's start from the work that you did in your hips. And feel that you can contain your hips from the outside. A girdle of muscles that holds the hips into center. Then bring your weight to the left foot and press down on the left foot and raise up your right knee. Good. All right, and then back 2 feet on the floor. So you got to test your toes and your arches and your ankles that way. Let's go the other side, see what that's like. And your left knee up. Feel the right foot drilling down and the outer hip muscles squeezing in. That switches my core on. Relax your shoulders. And release. Okay, and then tree pose. Let's bring that right leg up, right foot, left thigh. And then straightening up as much as you can. Possibly bringing your hands together. Perhaps not. And then a graceful dismount for the second side. Now, don't get disappointed if that didn't work out perfectly. It rarely does, but we're going to repeat both sides anyway. And in your own time, bring that knee up high and the foot onto your thigh. Good, and releasing. And as promised, let's go back to the original side. Make sure that that left leg feels strong and your footing strong before you bring up your right leg. If you're having a bad balance day, then just keep your right foot next to your left foot with your knee turned out. And you can have 2 feet on the ground still, just on your toes of your right foot. And then bring back some of this awareness of squeezing the hips in. If that upsets your balance, that's interesting. Not too bad. And then coming down gracefully, or not. And then other side. So the balance is a good thing, but using this as an exercise to test those outer hip muscles, glute med, glute min, and holding them into center as you've been doing. Good, and breathing. All right, and then let it go. Good, shake a leg. And let's go through a little sequence here of flowing postures. We all like to flow. So come onto your mat. I'm going to flip mine over to the sticky side. Instead of the beautiful indigenous design. Okay, and then let's start out from Tadasana. So the basic pose, and lift your toes and spread them. If you're looking at them, just probably you can remember where they are. Just look out towards the horizon. And then when you bring your toes back onto the mat, they're evenly spread as you can. Good, relax your shoulders. Soften behind your knees. Easy breathing. And then face yourself towards the long end of the mat. The short end of the mat, if you haven't done that. And then bring your hands into prayer position in front of your chest. Feel your footing, your footprints. And inhale and extend your arms up. And tilt your chin up, look up. Exhale. Chin comes down, bring your hands towards your chest, come into forward bend, Uttanasana. That might be your first forward bend of the day, so be gentle with yourself. And then bring your hands up onto your lower legs, just below your knees. Straighten your arms, lead with your chest. Beautiful opening there. And then drop into your forward bend again, sometimes called forward fold. And then chair pose. Bend your knees, keep your knees tracking straight forward, bring your arms up alongside your ears. Good, just sit your butt ticks back a little bit. Bring your hands together overhead. Inhale, look up, prayer position hands. Exhale, bring your hands down to your chest, to the heart center, and release. Inhale, go up, reach up. Exhale, go down, reach down. Hold the front of your legs, lift your chest, and extend out. Exhale, and dropping into it. Inhale, we're coming straight into chair pose, and arms straight alongside your ears. And then joining your hands overhead, straight legs, look up. Exhale, fold forward and down. Oh, the arms down. Sorry if I misled you there for a moment. All right, and then hands to your front chest. Inhale, reach. Exhale, reach down. Inhale, reach your chest forward. Exhale, soft dropping forward. Inhale, chair pose. Joining your hands overhead as you straighten your legs, reach up to the ceiling. Exhale, lowering your hands to your chest and then relaxing by your side. All right, changing it up a little bit this time, but just a small change. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, head down, bum up. Inhale, hold your legs, reach your chest forward. And exhale, relax, falling forward. When you come up, this time you're going to lift your heels as you stay in chair pose. So heels come up, arms reach up and forward, chair pose with the heels up. And keep your heels up as you straighten your legs, and then exhale, lower down, and arms by your side. Notice if you had to hold your breath along the way, and if anything, keep the breath flowing even if the movement is a bit wobbly. Here we go again. Hands in the front chest. Inhale, look up. Exhale, forward bend. Beautiful. Inhale, concave your back, look out. Exhale, look back. Starting to lift your heels, heel raise, and arms forward, chair pose. Stay on your heel raise as you extend your arms up overhead, straight legs, and then slowly lowering. Release your arms. One more of those. Inhale. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Uttanasana with your head up. Uttanasana, head down again, dropping forward. You're going to bring your arms forward alongside your ears as you lift your heels. And then keep those heels up as you extend your arms straight, your legs straight. And then come back to base and your arms down by your side. Okay. And then turn towards the long end of your mat, or towards your camera, probably. In the many poses of yoga, there are poses that you love to hate, and probably balancing on my toes would be one of them, but I'm working on it. All right, and then step out about 1 meter's distance. Leave your hands onto your hips, relax your shoulders. So this pose, in the way that I was taught, if I now ask you, you can turn your feet to the right. Right foot turns out, left foot turns in a little bit. I always was taught to keep the front heel, the right heel, in line with the arch of the foot. But then I learned something new. So I'm going to take the left foot a little forward and line up the heels. And there's kind of method in this madness. So left heel a little forward lines up with the right heel. Then for Trikhanasana, we know this one so well. Just do a little tilt to the right side. And without taking your hand down yet, allow the left hip to roll forward. So on that side, the buttock muscles are releasing and the left hip is dropping a little bit. And then just drop your right hand beneath your right shoulder. Keep your left hand onto that left waist or your left hip. But now switch on your right buttock muscles. So we're going to give another chance to strengthen the muscles around your hips. And this is mainly the big gluteus muscles. Squeeze in. And then as you're ready, then take up your left arm towards the ceiling. And a really lovely variation here, if that is sometimes irritating for your shoulder, is just to keep your hand onto your hip with the elbow bent. All right, and then without doing anything else, feel the weight back into your left foot and the footprint there, and the ankle strong, and inhale and come up. And turn your feet to the left. So I'm going to wiggle around a little bit. So my right foot slightly forward, and the heel lines up with the left foot. And bringing your hands back to your hips, do that tilt to the left side. Nice tilt to the left side. Good. Where your right hand is on your hip and on the outer right thigh, let that thigh turn in a little bit. And you might feel a release through your lower back when you do that too. That's what I experience. Left hand, left leg. As you're ready, then right arm up. Good. Really focusing on the hip muscles, and the left buttock tucks under and comes forward. Those muscles, not slack, they're holding to the bones of your pelvis. And then inhale and come up, and turn feet to center, and feet to the right again. It's a little fiddly, but we're doing this so that we keep the sacrum and the lower back comfortable with lateral movement. So let's go straight back into where we were. Triangle Trikhanasana on the right side. And the left arm up. And both feet strong. Feel the whole circumference of left foot and right foot. The front chest broad. And then notice where you're looking. If it happens that your chin is dropped a little bit, lift your head slightly up and back. And you can either look at your left hand or look straight forward, whichever suits. Left hip is relaxed and rolling in slightly, right buttock strong. Okay, good work. And then inhale and come up. And let's go the other way for the last round. Good. And then just be in the pose. We've got all the steps in place now. And that reminder to keep the back leg strong as the front leg. And left buttock, bring it forward slightly. And then notice again which way you're looking, and if you happen to be looking downward, lift your chin, lift your head back slightly, and either look directly forward towards the camera or up. Good work. And then inhale and come up, and turn your feet back to center, and walk back in. Okay, and as I said, shake a leg. Okay, take up your block. And place your block on the floor, the carpet in front of you on the high end. And take a distance stepping out. which may be a little bit wider than you were when you were in Trikhanasana, triangle pose. With your hands on your hips, just have a look at your feet, and they're squarely forward or slightly turned in, and then do some ankle rolls. So I'm rolling my feet out and lifting the inner arch of the foot, and then changing that and pressing into the inner arch and lifting the outer arch. And then go back and forth between those two movements a few times, but don't lose your balance like I'm doing. Just for your ankle flexibility. And then arrive at a standstill, a literal standstill, where you're balancing the weight on the inner and the outer arches of your feet. Can you feel that? It's a little trickier feeling the outside of your feet, I think, for me. Good. And then strong feet, firm ankles, bend your knees a little bit, bring your hands onto the top of the block. Like you did in Uttanasana with your chest up. Here, in Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg forward fold, pump up your chest and lead with it. And imagine that you're bringing your corners of your chest a little forward of your arms. Good. Push out through your outer heels. And now, have you lost one of those arches, inside or outside? And see if you can bring them back up. And then keep just your left hand on the heel of the hand onto the block. Bring your right hand onto the front of your chest. Between the nipples and the center of your chest. And then turn your chest to the right side. Turn, 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 turn. Then you meet resistance, you don't turn anymore. And see if it's there for you to extend up your right arm. And if it feels like a really clumsy or uncomfortable position, keep your hand onto your hip and keep remembering where you turned from, which is the thoracic, where your lungs are. Lovely. And then looking down and swapping hands, and left hand, left hip, right arm stays straight, and you're kind of bracing yourself with your right hand onto the top level. And turning, and then left hand onto your center chest where the heart center is. Turn from there. Maybe one side is a little easier to turn from, and if you like, and if your body feels like it's being invited to do it, extend up your left arm. Good. And then releasing back down, and two hands onto the block. Take a small step in each foot. Your feet are still apart, a good distance, but a little closer in. And then do something for your knees. So alternately bend one knee and then the other. And allow for a hip sway. Hips right, hips left. In a nice supportive breathing pattern. Okay, and then finish that walk in. So heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. Bend your knees forward. Loosen your hands from the block. Arms just by your side, and slowly come up. All right, and all you'll need now is a blanket or cushion to sit on, and your belt. Moving into a seated position. I have these just kind of baby bolsters that I've gotten for the studio that I really like to sit on. They seem not quite so fiddly as a blanket. So have a seat with your legs straight out in front of you. And then bend your right leg in. And like half Tadasana, your right knee out to the right side and your left leg straight in front of you. Loop your belt around your left foot. And keep the belt towards the forefoot. So rather than the arch of the foot, and then pull back lightly. This is just a means to the end, not the end of the pose, but to sitting up straight. And see if you can get a sense of that, where if you pull on the belt lightly, you can add space along the spinal column all the way up. Good. And then let's treat this more like a reflective pose, a quietening pose. And if it works for you, then allow yourself to come into a slight forward bend over that straight leg. And listening to the signals of your body, notice if that feels like you're quite cramped or congested if you bend forward like this. And if that's the case, you sometimes want to stay with the belt and lift up out of the hips. So the chest and the heart center are elevated. Maybe you're in a position where you can hold your foot now. And just quiet breathing. Check to see that the shoulders are relaxed and that they're at the same level. You might find that the right shoulder is up a little higher than the left shoulder. I just noticed that about my pose. All right, let's switch it. And with the right leg straight and the left leg bent, that little bit of space preserved between your left foot and your right thigh. And then I'm going to start out on the belt. Like pull on the belt, getting the hamstring stretch, but mainly straightening the spine, spacing the vertebrae. Okay, and if I want to go into more of a bend from my hips, I can do that without the belt or holding my foot. And just in this last part, see where you might be tensing because of a movement being uncomfortable for you. Hopefully not painful. Never want to go towards pain. And where might that bit discomfort be, and what happens if you lift up the chest? Does that create a release? All right, and then let's bring ourselves out of Janushirsasana and bend that right leg in as well. Push your feet out at a distance from you, and then when you look at the shape that your legs take, they've made a diamond shape. And then draw your buttocks out away from the sitting bones, rock a little bit side to side, and then take a forward stretch here. Maybe that's enough. You can rest your hands on your feet or your forearms onto your legs. And for the last few moments here, what happens if you actually can relax your shoulders? Totally relax your shoulders. Okay, good. And then pull yourself up. Reach around the outside of your knees, extend the legs straight out. Straight as you can. Flex your feet so that the toes are pulled back and you get those calf muscles going. All right. And then we're going to move into Yoga Nidra, which is a little bit of an extended relaxation. And I recommend that you have a little bit of support for your chest. And I like it when I have a cushion and then a bolster, another cushion on top of it to rest on when I'm lying back. And why do I like that? Because there's something about the support that's lifting you up that is, you're less likely to fall asleep in the position. And as always, it doesn't matter if you do happen to fall asleep. It just means that you were probably tired and needing that kind of rest. So play with the props, and if you end up and find, oh, well, for me, it would just be better if I lay on the mat straight. Just use what props you need to create relaxation, but a level of quiet awareness or alertness. I want to say take your time to get into your posture, but it doesn't usually take people very long to get into Shavasana or this pose, Yoga Nidra. But sometimes it takes a minute or two to really settle. So we've paced the class so that you had a reflective pose towards the end, and now allowing yourself for a quiet and reflective time lying down. And where your feet are placed onto the mat or onto the floor, let them drop out. Where your arms rest by the side of your body, palms uppermost perhaps. Feel the fingers lightly curled and relaxed, your thumbs relaxed. And I just want to say that this is the time that's just for you. You can put aside any notions of your to-do list, any stories that you've heard in the news today, let go of them. Any conversations that you might have had, and especially if they feel somewhat incomplete, letting go of those. Because this time is just for you. You're safe, you're supported, and increasingly quiet. So take 3 slow, deep breaths. The exhalations allowing you to release the body more and more into your soft props or into the floor. There's nothing to change here. Everything is perfect the way that it is. In this type of relaxation, there's an opportunity to create an intention for the time that you're here or into the future. So you might think along those lines that for yourself or for your family or for friends, you can create this intention for good health, for calmness, or for the wider world and the condition of the planet and so forth. And in creating this intention, you're doing it so that it's framed, the words of it are framed in present time. So if I were thinking along these lines for myself, I might say, I have happy and supportive relationships in my circle of friends. So as though that intention is already something that's happened. And then we're going to move on and let go of that intention, and we might come back to it. We will come back to it at the end. And return to the awareness of your breath, observing your breath, the natural rise and fall of it. Sometimes even as you watch your breath, it becomes more subtle and easy. No strain. And then we'll move on to an important feature of this relaxation, which is the scanning of your body. And as I name the various parts of your body, sense into that part, picturing it in your mind's eye, and feel it relax. You might notice that your mind wanders at some point. If that happens, without judging, just bring your attention back to your body. So starting with your left hand, left hand thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, palm of the hand, back of the hand, left wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, armpit, back of the hand, shoulder, left waist, left hip, left upper leg, knee, left lower leg, left ankle, top of the foot, sole of the foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. And that's the whole left side of your body. The whole left side. And bring into your awareness now the right side of your body and the right hand thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. Palm of the hand, back of the hand, right wrist, right forearm, right elbow, upper arm, armpit and shoulder, right side of your chest, right waist, right hip, upper leg, knee, lower leg, right ankle, top of the foot, sole of the foot, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. And that's the whole right side of your body, the whole right side. Bring your awareness now to the back of your body, and starting at the heels, the left heel, the right heel, the back of the left knee, the back of the right knee. The left buttock, the right buttock, the back waist, the left back chest, the right back chest. Left shoulder blade, right shoulder blade. Back of the neck, back of the head, the crown of the head. And now we become aware of the front of the body, moving attention now to the left side of your forehead, the right side of your forehead. Left temple, right temple. Left eyebrow, right eyebrow. And the space between the eyebrow center. Left eye, right eye. Left ear, right ear. Left cheek, right cheek. And the nose. The left nostril, right nostril. The bridge of the nose. The mouth, upper lip, lower lip, inside the mouth, left side of the jaw, right side of the jaw, the tongue, the chin, the throat. Become aware of your chest, the left side, the right side, and in the center, the heart center. Become aware of your abdomen, upper abdomen, mid-abdomen, and lower abdomen. Feel your breath in that area, centered around the navel center, and the pelvis. Release any tension in the belly. Soft breathing. And that is the whole of the body, the whole body. And as we complete the body scan, bring your attention back to that belly breathing. Feel the rise and the fall of the abdomen on each cycle. Then I'd ask you to come back to the intention that you said at the beginning. And even though we're framing that intention in present tense, it's still a kind of affirmation or an intention for change, for positive change. So possibly repeating that intention that you had, or even creating a new one if you wish. Repeat that to yourself several times. And with this kind of visualization or intention, we just let it go. So not to labor it. It's like planting a seed in the garden and just letting it go. In time, we hope it comes to fruition. And it's time to start coming back to the physical body, the whole of your body resting on the floor, a whole body awareness. Feel the sensations in the body and around your body. And feel the air against your skin or the clothing that rests on your skin. And without moving just yet, become aware of your position in the room, and bringing yourself back slowly. Feel where your body's resting. Begin to notice any sounds around you. And in a few moments, you'll be moving out of this relaxation. But while you're still due, then savor the deep relaxation that's provided by Yoga Nidra. And so that when you let go of this practice, you feel refreshed and renewed. Your nervous system nourished by what you've done. So begin to make some small movements, fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Stretch, yawn if you like. And with no kind of rush whatsoever, when you're ready, bend your legs and roll onto one side. And give yourself time there lying on your side. And we'll finish by sitting together. So with the gesture of joining your hands, it's a gesture of honoring yourself, and also people in your circle, the people we see on the screen here and in the room, and we say namaste.